Who would have thought that a live-in son-in-law, treated like dirt by his own family, was actually the sole heir to a billion-dollar empire? When he finally dropped his disguise and crashed his father-in-law's birthday with million-dollar gifts, his snobby family was completely stunned. The story starts in a local coffee shop. Chris is discussing a $30 million deal with Chloe, the CEO of the Sterling Group. Chloe decides to test him. She hints that the contract is his if he spends the night with her. Chris turns her down instantly, stating that he is a married man. Chloe just smiles and tells him he passed the test. The moment Chris walks out the door, he is stopped by Grace. Grace is the wealthy heiress of the Davis family from New York. She pulls out an old marriage contract and a childhood photo of him. Then she drops a massive bombshell. Chris is actually the sole heir to the Zenith Group, worth over $900 billion. Grace adds that she will have Chloe personally deliver that contract to the Smith family as compensation. The scene cuts to the Smith family mansion. Ryan, the arrogant brother-in-law, is waving the Sterling Group's contract around. He takes all the credit in front of the parents, and the whole family is thrilled. As soon as Chris walks in the door, his wife Sarah and her mother start screaming at him. They order him around like a servant, telling him to go make dinner. When dinner is served, Chris tries to sit down at the table. His mother-in-law immediately mocks him. She tells him that even a dog is allowed to sit there, but he isn't. Ryan pulls out a custom designer suit to show off and continues to insult Chris. The entire family joins in on the relentless mockery. To top it off, Ryan arrogantly orders Chris to pour him a glass of wine. Everyone has a breaking point, and Chris has finally had enough. He grabs the wine glass and pours the red wine right over Ryan's head. Ryan explodes in anger and tries to swing at him, but Chris easily blocks it. Instead of backing up her husband, Sarah screams at Chris and demands he apologize. Chris just smirks, drops the word divorce, and walks away. He is completely done with this toxic family ladder. That night, Grace pulls up to the curb in a stunning red sports car to pick him up. She takes him to the Grand Plaza, the most luxurious hotel in Chicago. There she gets him fitted in a world-class, custom-tailored suit. Dressed in his new suit, Chris radiates absolute power. He is more than ready for the Smith family's birthday banquet tomorrow. The next day, Chris inspects the hotel as the new chairman. The entire hotel staff lines up and bows to welcome him. Meanwhile, the Smith family gets dressed up and arrives at the hotel for Arthur's birthday party. Seeing the lavish setup, Arthur is totally amazed. Ryan shamelessly brags that the VIP treatment is all thanks to his elite connections. Inside the banquet hall, the real show begins. A line of hostesses walks in carrying jaw-dropping treasures. They present a $1 million vintage tea block, impossibly rare liquor, and a priceless antique vase. The Smith family stares at the incredible wealth in pure disbelief. Ryan actually has the nerve to try and take credit for these gifts too. Little does he know, this is just step one of Chris's revenge. At the party, everyone is busy kissing up to Ryan. Meanwhile, Chris is treated like the ultimate joke of the family. Sarah's mother points at Chris's gift and calls it absolute trash. Ryan publicly humiliates him, trying to force him to admit it is a fake. Facing their insults, Chris just laughs. He publicly exposes Ryan for stealing his credit for the past 3 years. He also reveals that Ryan has been secretly embezzling money from the company. Chris pulls out a red flash drive loaded with hard evidence, but Sarah completely refuses to believe him. She snatches the flash drive and smashes it to pieces with her high heel. She cold-bloodedly demands that Chris apologize to Ryan right then and there. Her mother throws a divorce agreement at Chris's face. She tells him to sign it, take absolutely nothing, and get out of their house. Seeing Sarah's cruelty, a heartbroken Chris signs the papers without hesitation. Suddenly, breaking news flashes across the giant screen in the hall. It announces that the Zenith Group's billionaire heir has been located right here in Chicago. Just as the Smith family starts getting excited, Ryan's photo pops up on the screen, but a second later, a red hacker warning takes over the display. The Zenith Group's security team cut the feed to protect the company's assets, and the screen goes black. Realizing it was a false alarm, the Smiths go right back to calling Chris a loser. Chris finally sees the Smith family for the greedy people they truly are. Before leaving, he hands a priceless sapphire necklace to Samantha. She was the only sister who actually treated him like a human being for the past 3 years. Without looking back, Chris walks right out of the banquet. As soon as he is gone, the snobby mother orders the necklace thrown in the trash. Only Samantha cares enough to pick it up off the floor, but karma hits them incredibly fast. Chloe walks over and announces that their $50 million contract has just been slashed to $5 million. She coldly looks at Sarah and tells her she hopes she doesn't regret this. Meanwhile, outside the hotel, Chris is greeted by Grace and the executives. He has officially reclaimed his title as a billionaire tycoon. He gives a single order: kick the ungrateful Smith family out of the building. The Smith family is suddenly facing total bankruptcy. To save his own skin, Ryan sets Sarah up on a blind date with Brandon, a rich kid from New York. At the dinner table, Brandon is arrogant and deeply insulting. He even demands that she have 3 sons within 3 days of getting married. Furious, Sarah throws a glass of water right in his face and storms out. Angry and humiliated, Brandon launches a full corporate attack to crush the Smith Group. Back home, Ryan and the mother viciously blame Sarah for ruining the company. In her despair, Sarah sees Chris with another woman and completely misunderstands the situation. When she gets back to the office, violent debt collectors break right through security. Seeing the danger, Ryan acts like a coward and sneaks out the back door. He leaves Sarah totally alone to face the thugs. Just in the nick of time, Chris and Grace arrive on the scene. Grace reveals her powerful background and scares the debt collectors away. After being rescued, Sarah finally uncovers the dark truth. Through recovered company data, she sees that Ryan has been stealing millions for years. At that exact moment, Ryan is in his office, celebrating with his mistress, planning to flee with the cash. Sarah also stumbles upon a forgotten video file. It shows that 3 years ago, Chris fought off a gang of thugs to protect her. He took a severe beating but never let them lay a finger on her. She finally wakes up to reality. The man who truly loved her and built the company from the ground up was Chris, and she personally destroyed their marriage. Standing alone on an empty street, Sarah breaks down crying. She screams out into the night, apologizing to Chris, but it is simply too late. In the end, Chris walks into his corporate headquarters surrounded by his loyal team. He has completed his ultimate comeback. 1 month later, a new business legend is born. Chris's new firm, Apex Capital, reaches IPO status in just 30 days. On a call with Grace, Chris finds out Chloe intentionally left the Smiths off the gala guest list. Always the professional, Chris tells Chloe to send them an invite anyway. By now, the Smith family has hit rock bottom. The company is dying, and they are down to their last $5 million. If they don't secure funding tonight, they face total liquidation tomorrow. But then, they overhear some guests gossiping in the lobby. They hear that the mysterious billionaire, Heir, specifically added Sarah to the guest list. Hearing this rumor, the mother and a greedy relative are overjoyed. They think this is their big ticket out of debt. They pressure Sarah to grab the opportunity and impress the billionaire tonight. Tell them, Chris is just a worthless ex-husband who could never compare to this VIP. Shortly after, a Rolls-Royce with VIP plates slowly pulls up. Convinced the billionaire is inside, Sarah rushes over with a fake smile. She knocks on the window, trying to introduce herself and flirt, but she can't believe her eyes when the window rolls down. Chris is sitting right there in a sharp white suit. He doesn't even look at her, simply telling his driver to go to the back entrance. The luxury car drives off, leaving Sarah frozen and embarrassed on the curb. Still holding out hope, the Smith family enters the gala and bumps into Chris again. Sarah and the tacky relative immediately put their noses in the air. They actually think Chris stalked them all the way here to beg for her back. Chris coldly warns them to stop being so delusional. He tells them point blank that they don't even belong in this building. This totally sets the Smith family off. The mother starts screaming, calling him a useless gold digger. Sarah acts superior and tells him to stay away, bragging about her new rich admirer. She mocks him, saying he will never be worth a fraction of the billionaire Heir. Samantha tries to defend Chris, but her father shuts her down. The snobby guests around them raise their glasses and join in on the mockery. Chris just stands there, watching them make fools of themselves. Chloe quietly asks if she should have security toss them out. Chris smirks and says no. He wants them to open their eyes and see exactly who they are messing with. The host announces that the investment ceremony is officially beginning. The spotlight hits the center of the stage. With everyone watching, Chris calmly walks up to the microphone. "Hello everyone, I am Chris, chairman of the Apex Group." Down in the crowd, Sarah and her family turn pale with absolute terror. Without missing a beat, Chris drops the hammer. He coldly announces that not everyone in the room deserves to be there. He pulls out a blacklist and gives security 3 minutes to clear them out. Several rival executives are dragged out screaming. Then, Chris coldly calls out the Smith family. Total panic sets in. Security guards surround them instantly. The mother screams in denial, while the father and the relative drop to their knees begging for mercy. Sarah cries hysterically, accusing Chris of doing this just to hurt her. But Chris doesn't show a single ounce of pity. He tells them that the second they kicked him out, like a dog, they meant nothing to him. Just as security is about to drag them out, Chris raises his hand. Sarah actually thinks he changed his mind, but Chris coldly states that only Samantha is allowed to stay. Because when he was at his lowest, Samantha was the only one who treated him with respect. The parents collapse to the floor, slapping their own faces and begging for a second chance. But it is too late. They are tossed out of the building like absolute trash. The gala gets back on track, but Chloe suddenly runs over looking panicked. She whispers that Grace was just in a car accident. Chris's face drops, and he rushes out of the gala, sprinting to the hospital. He leaves Chloe in charge to execute the hostile takeovers of the failing companies. At the hospital, Chris is frantic. Thankfully, Grace only suffered a few minor scratches on her wrist. Seeing him sweating and stressed, Grace teases him for caring so much. Chris looks away, feeling a little shy. Grace then mentions she has to go back to New York for some family business. Right then Chris gets an urgent text from Chloe. The Davis family in New York is trying to force Grace into an arranged marriage with the Stevens family. They want to completely cancel her grandfather's promise to Chris. Chris's eyes turn ice cold as he replies with 2 words, "Got it." The scene flashes back to a dark bar in New York a month ago. That same greedy Smith relative is seen kissing up to Steve, the heir of the Stevens family. To get funding, he promises to make Sarah serve Steve's every need, but Steve doesn't care about Sarah. He just wants the Smith family's core technology. He laughs, revealing that the massive investment deal is actually a trap to steal everything they have. The foolish relative has no idea and just keeps flattering him. Back in the present, it is late at night outside Chris's ancestral home. Grace is standing there with her luggage, ready to face New York all alone. But as she turns around, Chris is standing right there in the moonlight in his signature white suit. He looks at her with absolute determination. He tells her that Chloe filled him in, and he is not letting her go to New York alone. "If you are leaving, we go together." Grace looks at him, and a bright smile lights up her face. Together, they head to New York to face their new enemies.